Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are going to talk about regulatory bodies and their examination patterns and their syllabus. So let's get started. So the three regulatory bodies that we'll be targeting are RBI, SEBI, and IRDAI. And I'll be talking about RBI syllabus first because in 2026 we have this exam coming up first. Then SEBI, it happened in January this year. So in 2027, at the end, it can happen. And IRDI, there is no information yet, but it is supposed to be released this year. So these are the three examinations that we'll be targeting. Let's get into SEBI first. Let's get into RBI first. So this is the RBI syllabus that I wanted to talk to you about. There are, of course, three steps to get into RBI. There is phase one, which is CBT, online based examination, and it comprises of four particular sections: general awareness, English, quant, and reasoning. And they are sectional exams, so there is particular time and there are particular number of questions that you have to attend. And for paper two, that is your mains examination, the division is such that it's divided into three formats, three divisions, three papers, but you have to realize that there are only two shifts for the exam. So they might take ESI and English together, or they might take management and English paper together. So two shifts, but three exams, pension. Okay. And of course, it is both objective and descriptive, and it is computer-based exam. Again, the time limit is total, as it is being given, 120 minutes, and over here 120 minutes. So most probably it's management and English held together, but sometimes they mix ESI and English too. Okay. And some questions are of 2 marks, some questions are of 1 marks in the examination. And in subjective type, you're given options. Out of three questions, you have to do only two. Okay, so there's a choice over there. And we'll be talking about its syllabus. So RBI relies heavily on ESI and finance and management. And in economics, they mostly talk about the growth and development, the measurement of growth, national income, per capita income, the numbers of GDP, and everything from various, uh, international resources and Indian resources, all of these. Then there is about the history of Indian economy, the reforms formed in it, then fiscal policy before 1991, after 1991. Then they'll also talk about the whole, public finance, political economy, industrial developments in India. There are a lot of schemes related to it. Then they'll talk about globalization and sustainable development goals, which there are 17, and they'll talk about them. Then they'll talk about certain world bodies like International Monetary Fund, World Bank, World Trade Organization, and India's relationship with all of them. Then they'll also talk about social structure in India, like how we are a diverse culture, how we are a diverse demographic, and how India as a human resource creates more value. So this is what is talked about in social structure in India. And of course, then there are certain disparity that's occurring in be it social justice or be it gender issues. We talk about them and the schemes regarding that. So paper one in phase two is all about economics, but it is related to social issues. So you have to connect the two. Okay. Then, when it comes to English, I want to say it very clearly that English is one of the most important subjects because it will help you understand other subjects better, and also it will help you put down your thoughts, and it will create a whole better learning environment for you. Plus, they'll also check in all the examinations, be it any one of the three, they'll check your drafting skills, so you must be prepared for that. The paper of English shall be framed in a manner to assess the writing skills, including expression and understanding the topic. Mostly, there are three things: it's précis writing, it's letter writing, and there is an essay. An essay mostly comes on the economic background, so you must read newspaper. That's one of the most important things. Then we have general finance and management. Now, these are two different topics: finance and management is again divided into certain subtopics. But when it comes to finance in phase two, it's more about the notifications that RBI releases, that all the regulatory bodies releases. Okay. And you have to make sure that you're going through the website again and again. And but first, you also must know the financial system, the financial markets, the definitions of everything, how it works, and who are the stakeholders, who is it impacting. Then you have to talk about general topics. General topics, these may sound a little advanced to you for somebody who's coming from a non-economic background, but it's all English. You must understand the basic concepts. These are very important. Financial risk management, basics of derivatives, global financial markets, financial inclusion, alternate source of finance, private and social cost benefits, triple P, corporate governance in banking sector. Then this section, the union budget, chapter number 7, is extremely important. And if the exam is to be held even in September or October for RBI, you have to make sure that that year's budget must be like understood by you. And I think we will be starting from this topic only. Then there is basics of accounting. Then there is inflation. Inflation has multiple definitions. And even in phase one, they'll ask you very, one-liners like what is WPI, what is CPI, what is the formula for this, what is the formula for that. So you must have these topics in your mind. Then when it comes to management, management is like it's a static subject. It doesn't change a lot, but these days in phase two, the questions asked are based on certain situation types. So you have to apply the management into your current knowledge. Okay, then only you can, qualify for this exam. Yes, it's a high scoring paper for management, but that also means that you have to be very clear with your knowledge. Okay. So again, these are the very basics: introduction to management, evolution of management, these systems, scientific, administrative, and we'll talk about multiple theorists who have given their own theories, like, and then we'll also need about content theories, motivation theories, Maslow's needs theory, Elderford's ERG theory, Maclelland's theory, Herzberg's two-factor theory. Now these theories, I mean, even subjective questions and objective questions have been asked in RBI from these theories. Okay, if you could find somewhere the phase two examination questions, and that will be very much helpful for you to prepare for this exam. We will be covering that, but right now I want you to study from basic concepts first. Like, I want you to get a glance of what we're going to going forward, what we're going to learn in this knowledge. Okay, so then there is leadership, another important subject. Whenever we'll talk about management and organizational behavior, leadership will always be talked about. Then there is ethics and corporate governance. One question sometimes is always asked from these small topics. Communication is one of the most important topics and is always asked. So if you're getting three questions from management, you must stick that one will be coming from communication. And this is a complete 15 marker and it's always easy to score in. Okay. So when it comes to RBI preparation, I think you should focus on general awareness a lot. Okay, and your phase two skills should be better. Okay, and quant reasoning English is a must. The level of quant and reasoning is a bit higher than even mains examination of certain SBI and NICL insurance examinations. So you should be very clear with the concepts, data interpretation, data analysis, all these things in quant is very important. We'll talk about it in the future. And even in reasoning also, like you must know seating arrangement and puzzle in depth, not just, surface level knowledge won't do now anymore. Okay, so this was for RBI. Then, just a minute. Yeah, so we were here, right? So we just discussed this with you. Then when it comes to SEBI is very broad. It's a very broad subject. But again, it comprises of three steps: phase one, phase two, and interview. When it comes to phase one comprises of two papers. And the good part is these papers are not merit based. These phase one paper, they are, as for now, till now, they have been qualification based. You just have to qualify. So out of 200 marks, there is a very conceptual understanding of this. You have to clear the cutoff. Paper one cutoff you have to clear, paper two you have to clear, and then aggregate cutoff also you have to clear. So paper one, again, it comprises of general awareness, quant, reasoning, English, a little bit lower than the level of RBI. But again, if you are consistently taking examinations, then you will know that you never know which IBPS exam could have a difficult quant, reasoning, and English. So these three are your pillars to understanding anything. Then when it comes to general stream, if you're applying for general stream, then the topics asked will be from 7 subjects: commerce, accountancy, management, finance, costing, Companies Act, and economics. These 7 subjects are very crucial in SEBI for phase 2 also. Okay. So in phase 2, there will be again English drafting skills. As I said, that English is a pillar. There will be multiple choice questions. Some could be of 1 mark, some could be of 2 marks. Okay. The questions, they don't know. They could give 47, 50, 100 questions. It depends on IBPS that day, what the paper is being set. And these 7 topics will be asked a lot. Okay. So talking about these 7 topics, 7 subjects: commerce and accountancy. You don't need to have in-depth knowledge as in complete, but anything that has been mentioned here, this is all static knowledge, by the way. So this has to be learned. It must be very clear. And even in phase 2, there are certain numericals asked based on commerce and accountancy. So you must understand these topics. We'll talk about them one at a time in the upcoming videos. But again, when it comes to accountancy, you must understand the basics. So there will be basics about financial information system, how a booking system is done, how cash flow statement, fund flow statement, how you have to write certain things, accounting for share capital transactions, then employee stock options, buyback of securities, preparation and presentation of company financial final accounts. Then there is management, as we have discussed management in previously in the RBI. The only difference I could find was this, that in the motivation theories, they're not just talking about theories of motivation, but they're also talking about factors determining morale and role of incentives in building up morale. So morale will be a new topic that we'll be talking about in motivation in management for RBI, for SEBI. Okay. Then there is communication, different types of communication, role of information technology in communication. I think this is a very important topic which might be discussed in the future. Then again, in finance, although these topics are small, they may seem small, but there is depth to all of these topics. And somebody who is coming from a non economic background might have certain challenges understanding, but you must realize that it's just terms. Once you get used to the terms, once you start, in building the terms within you, it gets pretty much easier in the future. And like finance, there will be financial systems that you have to talk about, then financial markets you have to talk about. Then there are certain general topics, and finance is a very, dynamic subject. So you have to consistently read it. They could ask you anything, any numbers, any figure from the current statement, but you have to like keep yourself aware of the basic concepts as well as the dynamic knowledge which is in the news as for 3 to 6 months old. Okay. Costing, another new subject. Overview of cost and management accounting, introduction to cost and management, objectives and scope of cost and management, methods of costing, job costing, batch costing, different types of costing, basics of cost control and analysis, lean system and innovation, Kaizen costing, something which is asked a lot in exam, just in time, introduction to lean system, 5S's, total productive maintenance, lots of topics. Okay. Companies Act, there are certain specific chapters given in CA Companies Act, but again, certain direct one-line questions are asked in the exam in phase 2 and both phase 1 from this Companies Act chapter. Economics. This part of economics is a little macroeconomic based on demand and supply, market structures, national income, Keynesian approach, then investment function, Phillips curve, business cycles. These are direct questions that are asked. Since the syllabus is very vast, they don't ask you technical questions, but they ask you direct questions. Okay. Balance of payments, foreign exchange markets, inflation, monetary and fiscal policy, non-banking financial institutions. So although it looks like 6 subjects, but I have divided commerce and accountancy into 2 different subjects for better understanding. Okay. Then coming back to our chart, we have IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. And in IRDAI, we have again 4 subjects. 2025, there was no exam, but last year, that is 2024, the cutoff increased from 80 in 2023 to 108 for generalist. That's how easy the paper was, according to some people. Again, this was no RBI level, but here you have to have speed in both reasoning and quant, because this paper might sound easy, but it can be technically challenging too. So again, you have to be very thorough with your quant, reasoning, English, and even general awareness knowledge. Okay. Phase one again will comprise of 160 questions, 1 mark each question. The good part is that you can switch between these subjects, as far as in RBI you cannot. In SEBI also you can switch. Then phase two, descriptive examination. This is where it gets trickier, because this exam is pen and paper based. At least it was held till 2024 pen and paper based. We are yet to know how it will be held in 2026 or even in 2027. This comprises of, again, descriptive English writing, then economic and social issues. But look, this is the difference between all three ESI. RBI's ESI is in accordance with social issues, okay? Accordance with the society. But this ESI is in accordance with the insurance sector. So you must, you know, mold your descriptive answers accordingly. So if you're putting answers into the IRDA exam, so you must have figures from insurance sector only, okay? And then there's insurance management as a completely different subject. Paper one will be, as I said, essay, precision, comprehension, and business office correspondence. That means letter writing and stuff. Paper two will be economic growth, business cycles. But look, there's insurance penetration in this business cycles, impact of age structure on economy, application of utility theory to insurance premium setting, macroeconomic factors, including catastrophes and pandemics that may impact insurers and insurance markets. Really good topic. Financial markets, financial institutions, and financial services integration and risk arising from interconnectedness. So, insurance is a subject that is concerned with risk a lot. So, all the economics that you're reading is based on a little advanced, because you have to have your basics clear, and then how the impact is being created by the insurance market. Okay, that is what you have to understand. But since these topics of finance and management are heavily society based topics, the social structure will be talked about, and again, the schemes launched in the insurance sector. Okay. Part three, insurance and management. You have to understand history of Indian insurance, principles of insurance, risks and uncertainty, legal foundations of insurance, functions performed by insurers, insurance lines and products. Then in management, again, same topics. Okay. But three topics that I found really changed, 2 to 3 topics. First was HRD, Human Resource Development. Nobody is talking about, no exam like previous examination, RBI or IRDI, SEBI. We're talking about these. And the other one was motivation, morale. Again, as I said, this topic will be there. Then there's communication and role of information technology in communication. Always stands as an individual topic. Many interviewers prefer talking about this topic. Okay. So you must have certain knowledge, because all the information or misinformation is being transformed from this technology, be it WhatsApp or anything. This is why this topic becomes extremely crucial. And with the advent of AI in these markets these days, there is a constant evolution of all these sectors, be it finance sector, be it economic sector, be it management sector. Okay. Then again, corporate governance and some, topics from ethics, mechanisms of corporate governance. Okay. So coming back to our canvas, if we talk about this, we had three regulatory bodies examinations, RBI, SEBI, and IRDI. We discussed RBI syllabus, we discussed SEBI syllabus, and we even discussed IRDI syllabus. But out of these three topics, there is something that I want to talk to you about, the common stuff. Okay. So when it comes to the common stuff, as I said, all these three examinations in phase one, your quant, reasoning, and English has to be up to the point. Not only speed, but even your accuracy. Not only some simple questions, but even those questions which are, high standard. Data insufficiency, data sufficiency, not just algebraic equations. Last year, many people prepared for RBI algebraic equations, but in one of the shifts, no questions were asked. And out of 30, the cutoff always goes like 8 or 10. So you must understand that you have to attempt at least one DI question. Okay, that is very, very necessary. And we'll see when we'll be solving these questions how challenging they can be. Reasoning, lots of puzzles are asked, lots of seating arrangement questions are asked, machine learning questions are asked. So you will prepare for these, and English being English, you never know what level you will be getting in any of these three examinations. If I were to rate them, RBI has very strong quant reasoning English, then SEBI quant reasoning English, and then IRDAI is quant reasoning English. But since IRDAI is easy, the cutoff will be higher. So you have got to score better marks. Okay. General awareness for all three examinations is based on three factors: your banking news, your current affairs, and then your PIB. We'll be talking about them one at a time in future videos. Okay. Then coming back to phase two. Now, when we talk about phase two, as I said, SEBI and RBI, they have a common subject, finance. So you must read about this. Okay. And the common subjects of all the three examinations are English drafting skills, essay writing, letter writing, even comprehensions. And if you can read newspaper editorials from the Economic Times, we will be talking about them here also. And economics and management. As I showed you, these three topics are very common. So we'll be picking up the common topics first. We'll be also talking about daily news and everything. And best of luck for the examination. Keep preparing, and I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, have a nice day.